Hello. Been a bad few days, to say the least. Forgive me for yesterday's video. That wasn't entirely how I want to express these videos. How I want them to be. Unintentional expression, thinking out loud while expressing out loud, contemplating out loud, every which way you want to call it. Basically, internally being and letting my mouth just participate. That's all. And yesterday's video wasn't quite as I want these to be. So, sorry for that. Not sorry, 'cause it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. Alright. I am only speaking from my own experience, from being, and let that stand as the example of itself. I am not shoving anything down anybody's throats. I'm not telling anybody what to think. I'm not telling anybody anything. I am openly expressing me out loud and only me publicly. Not telling anybody anything of the sort, not dictating any of the sort, not putting anybody down, not lifting anyone up, not even boasting myself or putting myself down, nothing. None of that nonsense. I'm just speaking openly, honestly, from being and letting that be as it is. Again, it has been a bad few days. It has been a disruptive morning again. But I can't stop this momentum. And sitting down after the disruptions this morning died down, thinking back on the delay and how I made the previous two videos before this one yesterday, was closer to what I want to express in these videos than yesterday's, and then, internal refinement of it reinvigorated my momentum to not be dictated by the past few crappy days and this morning's disruptions, and just record. Even if my internet's down and I can't upload it, I can still record it. Okay, the topic. What actually prevents people from expressing freely as they are? Now, to correct that, because I'm not talking for others, towards others, nothing of the sort. So I will put that, express on that, because I can't think for people, I can't be other people, I can only be me. And to speak on what actually prevents people from expressing freely as they are, the only way I can do that is by what actually prevents me or prevented me from expressing freely as I am. That's the only way I can answer that question, is by answering my own question and out loud. The question topic. So what actually prevents me from expressing freely as I am? Previously. Because again, nothing's preventing me now except external circumstances like this morning's disruptions in the past crappy few days and no privacy. Is anything preventing me from expressing myself freely when I have privacy? Absolutely not. That is why I have to make that into a past tense. What did before? And express on that. Which again, I'm just thinking out loud. Not explaining out, just thinking out loud. Because that's literally what I'm doing. Because I'm not making the questions, like I said yesterday even. The generated questions are based on external things, external people, and I'm not speaking on those. Even if I speak on the disruption from others, I'm not speaking on others. I'm speaking on the disruption that is received or witnessed. That's just like if I condemn something that is done negatively, I'm damning the thing, not the person. Apparently you got to explain stuff like that to people. That's sad. That's sad. All right, number 1. When do I feel least like myself? Disruption. Unnatural disruption. As again, even a death. Yeah, I'm just going to stop, like, directively talking. I'm just going to talk out loud. Even death, natural, random, for me, it doesn't make me feel less like myself, just suffer, just a disruption. So when do I feel least like myself? Unnatural interruption, disruption, etc. But then again, from being, I never feel least like myself or most like myself, because that's been the constant thing since I was 3 years old. I don't know if you hear that. The blower fan of the freezer's got too much condensation frozen. It keeps messing up the fan, and it keeps brushing up on the metal around it a little bit or something. It's like I never feel any different. I've always just been me. That's what I mean. It's like, when do I feel least like myself? It's like, how could I? I'm never not like myself. It's the state I'm in. But me is always constant. It's never changing. It's been the same, just expanded since childhood. The same being that is speaking right now through this mouth. And I'm purposely not looking at the camera because I'm literally ignoring it. Like, I'm not talking to any people, I'm just talking out loud. And if I got to practice that by not looking at the screen, I will. The same person speaking now is the same one that was buried and looking outward as a child. The earliest childhood of awareness. Self-awareness. And how people define themselves changing so much. It's like, yeah, physicality change, you could change mannerisms, everything as much as you please with discipline and refinement and patience and work, etc. But my being does not change. It's never changed. I cannot change my being. I can only be in harmony with it, inward, outward, or suffer disruption. Two, what changes me around certain people. Nothing changes about me around certain people, but as far as my behavior, but again, that's self. That's my self level, my physicality, my expression. Again, nothing, my being related, ever changes. And again, I forgot my allergy medicine, because as soon as I start talking, my throat gets dry and cracky, and I start trying to itch it, like I did in the last video. Oh, that wasn't professional. I'm sorry. Not sorry. You see, that's what changes about, like, what the changes about me around certain people, but it's an awareness thing where some people are they just express the state they're in. Their body language. And I mean, I just act accordingly. If somebody's grumpy or mean or just, pardon me, negative to even approach, then act accordingly. Don't approach them. Give them their space. If it's not an environment for me or positive for them, steer clear. What could change about my I'll go with this. What changes about my expression around certain people or my state? Now you gotta go. Now, if I'm around people that I am more harmonious with, I am basically mostly two ways. I am either being myself or reactive. And if I'm around negative people, sadly, my reactions to it override my state of being, like expressionately. I'm just watching my turtle. Red-eared slider pickles. Pickles! Pickles. Yeah. I forget how old she is. 4 months old now? It's 4 or 5 months. It's about the size of my hand now. Again, yeah, there you go, right there. Like, just how I am around a turtle. I'm just myself. Just being, hey, Pickles! Who's a pretty girl? Trying to send her. That is so funny. I wish I could show you. Her feet, like, look up Red-eared Slider's feet outstretched. It looks like Godzilla. It's so cool. And then her webbing got pink in between in between her toes. That's why I started calling her Pinky Pickles too. See, that changes like the unperformative, natural, authentic presence of a turtle, which just brings out that out of me. Just like that. Like, that's normal interaction with my turtle. I will talk to her, I will sing to her, I will... Pickles! Like, it doesn't matter to me, whatever comes out. If it's harmonious, if, you know... I sing to my dogs, I sing to my cats, I give them nicknames, I talk to them. It's like, people ain't no different. When there's no performances, no nonsense. Like I said, then act accordingly. If some harmonious with other people or group of people, even a person, then the whole situation is more harmonious and congruent and enjoyable and natural. Whereas what changes about me and around certain people and gets negative, and I'm more kept to myself. Like, okay, you know, you do you, I'll be over here doing me. I'll avoid your whatever you're doing, and I'll be over here my own little thing. You know, where even if I'm in like a doctor's waiting room, only 2 people in the room. Well, I walk in and somebody just has a scowl on their face, I'm going to sit not right in front of them, not looking at them. I'm just going to be like, okay, you do you. I'll go over here and pay attention to everything else and not be bothered by whatever presence you're in. Well, 3, why do some environments make me feel free while others feel heavy? I just partially explained that. No different than with people. Again, environments, if it's, okay, not including people, well, no, I mean, no, I can't not include people. I mean, no, solitude isn't heavy unless you make it heavy internally. And you sit with yourself and you're, whatever you have to sit with that's heavy. Or I do. As far as, so yeah, so sitting in a room, sitting in an empty room or sitting in the middle of the woods, it's not going to be that much different. Because if you're suffering, then it doesn't matter if you're in an empty room or in the woods. The weight will still be there, even though there might be a little more positivity and presence in the woods than in the empty room. But if the heaviness is heavy, it ain't going to matter too much. Actually, no, that's the opposite. Instead of sitting in a... That's what I should have been doing the whole time. Previously, thinking out loud. Being more negative, I let it hold me still, and I sat with it. Sat with it in contemplation, and just the heaviness of it, and analyzing internally, and you name it. And I let it keep me from, doing the opposite. I would sit with it and the heaviness of it instead of going somewhere that would make it lighter. Like getting up, taking a drive, taking a walk in the woods just to sit in that environment, not hearing any distortion, no nonsense, no disruption, nothing. You know what? That would have been better to do than to just say, screw it, I'm just going to not live today. I'm just going to park my butt and suffer. Even contemplating suffering and all that. I guess that answers that. As far as interacting with others, what environments make you feel free, what others feel heavy, depends on the people, depends on the environment, the people making up the environment. I mean, if you're around a bunch of people that are, rather sit around and gossip and all that nonsense or just complain, or if everybody's in a negative state, no matter what explanation, that environment's not going to feel free to me. That'll feel heavy. Free is everybody, just harmony. Just the presence of negativity in any way, shape, or form not being the primary. Again, you walk into a room full of positive people, it's going to be more enjoyable. I'm not talking about people acting corny. Like not performatively positive. Being expressingly, inhabitably positive. Congruence. Participation of it. Positivity and negativity. Well, what environment would you rather be in? A bunch of grumpy old people or a bunch of free, happy people? Unperformative people. Even people being overly grumpy is a performance. They're performing the state they are in. I've done it before. That is how I've always expressed the state I'm in. But nobody around me has ever been able to see past their own self-centeredism. Because nobody has ever noticed any amount of suffering I've ever really been through. Which is another reason for sharing all this. But then again, I don't want to sit here and share all my suffering at all. And that got heated. I'm just going to leave that alone. I don't want to get heated. See, that's why I don't like negativity. It's just even moving on. But in general, environment, again, harmonious or not. It's like, what do you want to be in? Do you want to be surrounded by negativity or positivity? And that is only defined, and I will speak this externally, that is only ever defined by you. Whatever is in congruence and authentic and harmonious to you. Except when it costs others, that's not really authentic or in congruence. Situationally, I mean, obviously, if you gotta step away from somebody because they're being overly negative, that's going to affect them negatively too. So I'm not going down that rabbit hole. 4. How often I stop myself from finishing. I got interrupted by a thought. Was how long have I been recording? 23 minutes, 24 minutes. 4. How often do I stop myself before saying what I actually mean? You know what? This is a good one. I'm gonna say this out loud for everyone. Everybody always puts that in a negative way. From my experience, it's primarily put in a negative way. Like, you don't want to say the bad thing and hurt people's feelings all the time, or get yourself hurt. No, I'm talking one point of view right now. One way. Like people. Now, how about this? I'm just going to say straight up instead of the opposite. Why don't you stop being afraid of saying? Oh, I was on 4. Moved on to 5. My eyes moved down because I scrolled. How often do I stop myself from saying what I actually mean? Did I just confuse both of those? A little bit, but no, the point was people always, like, they'll, no, I totally messed that one up. I totally misread that. I apologize. No, I don't apologize. It is what it is. So I'll just start over. 4, how often do I stop myself before saying what I actually mean? I don't stop myself anymore. I don't stop myself anymore. I don't. Why? Why should I? What do I care for? If the only thing I stop myself from saying, and this is why I hate my effing reaction side, when people overwhelm me and I react, because then I start saying what, it doesn't matter if it's right, wrong, truth or not, I don't want to say things at all that negative. When it's harmful or disruptive is when, how often do I stop myself from saying what I actually mean? Only when it's disruptive, harmful, stuff like that. I try not to say those things. You know, somebody's having a bad hair day, you see it. I mean, if it's something comical, it's like humorous, and I'll say something and be honest about it and genuine, just, stop overthinking it. But other than that, I don't stop myself. I'm working on stopping myself from my reactions because, again, it's the introduction of disruption, weight, suffering, heaviness, all that bit being forced on me from others, mainly those who matter most to me, which is the only weight others have over me. My being is the ones who matter to me most. It's like being basically being verbally abused every day by your autistic son. It's like, yeah, you could excuse him all you want, but when you can't be ignorant of that's still your son expressing such endless negativity and hate towards you, it hurts and hurts and hurts and disrupts. And I don't have I don't have very many options to just get up and excuse myself to de-escalate from the situation. Just quite frankly, every time I excuse myself, more destruction happens from not being watched. So that builds up, and I start reacting, you start screaming, and it's like, but yeah, initially I tell you, hey, stop, people are getting me worked up. Yeah, obviously, I warn them, but again, this is why I hate reaction, because it just, boom, it's like, I warned you, leave me alone, and then it's like, then next thing you know, they won't stop, and you're screaming at somebody. It's like, dude, I warned you. and then you're the bad guy. I thought it was a little off track. But I was just explaining a little bit. Because again, just, you know what? 5. What am I afraid would happen if I express myself honestly? Now, after explaining there, let me stop. You know what? I'm literally going to pause and take a minute to realign myself and express more and explain less. Because after explaining that much as I just did on reaction, it's like I'm not trying to explain that much. That's not what I'm working on. So it's like I'm going to pause and just focus and go to the bathroom. All right, back on track. 5. What am I afraid would happen if I express myself honestly? That's one I'd have to answer for others. I'm not. What am I afraid of? What is anybody going to do to me? You're gonna, end me? Whatever. I can't do anything about that. That's reality. One day I will pass just like everybody else. So I'm not going to live my life as if I'm going to run away from all of that as long as possible. Like, nope, I'm not adding any more to that. I don't do that. I tried that. It doesn't work. It chased me down, it tackled me down, and it would not let go of me until I confronted it. I've already dealt with those death terrors. I've already dealt with that. I've already been through all that. So what? Not get accepted? I'm not trying to get accepted. I don't care who accepts me. I'm not looking to impress anybody, boast over anybody, or under anybody. I'm only expressing myself. So what anybody else thinks of that in a negative way, why should I care? I am not being negative or externalizing anything directed at anybody. I'm not condemning anyone. I'm not correcting anyone. I'm just expressing myself. So anybody anybody couldn't disagree. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But any introduction of negativity, when there is none being present, is the distortion of the giver of negativity. Why should I value that or worry about that at all? My hands are clean. Figuratively speaking. What movie was that from? Oh, yeah, that's right. Jack Sparrow. My hands are clean in this, figuratively. So, again, this is from being, I don't operate from the self layer, to say it simple. I mean, I know why others are. I know, why I was before, and it wasn't for the same, it was, but it wasn't for the same reasons. Shame, ridicule, hate, negativity. But it wasn't because of those things. It was the absence of harmony and congruence and such. It was like, that's what hurt, not the negativity, the absence of harmony and the introduction of distortion. That's what hurts. That's the disruption. Not the thing that tears me down, but what's absent. That's what, I didn't want, anything I've ever done in the past. It was, anything superficial I'd done in the past, we all act as if I wanted popularity. It wasn't Like just, social media, for example, it's not popularity. It's just, even say 100 people in a year see eye to eye with me and are harmonious and congruent, and I could talk indirectly with people, and people comment back, and it's interactive, it's neutral, it's growing, harmonious. How could I argue with that? That's what I want. So it's like, the introduction to negativity is just like, it hurt before, but now it's just like, well, some stranger on the internet's being negative. That is the absence of value. Why should I give it my time? Anyone like that is not worth my time when it's directed for no good reason. Because I'm expressing myself. I'm not re-explaining, I'm just stating it. I'm not telling anybody what to think, say, be, and nothing. I'm just expressing myself. You don't like it, keep it to yourself. The introduction of negativity serves no rhyme, reason, or purpose. Constructive criticism, even just constructive information is acceptable. The introduction of negativity, no. So no, I'm not afraid of what would happen if I express myself honestly. But again, and that's why I meant earlier, only... Now, here's the other point I meant earlier. I think I just read ahead, and I read 5 instead of 4 after I spoke 4, something like that. I think I spoke 4 out loud, then read 5 when I went to answer. Expressing yourself freely, honestly. One thing that is enjoyable to do that I purposely started doing months and months, or sometime last year, early last spring, I think, or summer. Letting the positive things out. Even if they're corny. Like, afraid of what? Saying something and being embarrassed because, what? Something was cute and you said it? Like, don't be sleazy or weird about it. Just be, you see something nice, say it. If you're being positive, who cares how other people hear it? Honestly, I don't care. Most of the time, people are like, what? They're like shocked at first, like people would rather go around spitting nonsense and being negative than, hey man, like, actually, yeah, like, a few people in the grocery store, see wearing that cool shirt or some, snazzy pants, or like all different, like one guy, he had what did he have? Like a whole pants stitched together and all different patterns and stuff. And like, I see something like that, I'll say, hey man, nice pants. Or one worker down there at the grocery store had his hair up like Sideshow Bob on Simpsons. And I just busted laughing, and because it looked exactly like it. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I was just expressingly, but positive, and expressing positivity about it, not, laughing at in a negative way. Just like, dude, that's awesome. Like, he wasn't trying to make his hair that way, because he was like, who? And I'm like, look it up. I didn't have my phone here, but then I see him months later, and he didn't remember, and I said it again. Hey, Sideshow Bob. What? It's like, I'm not apologizing for being positive and present anymore with anybody. Negative, I'll leave that where it belongs. Enough of that. 40 minutes. 6, when do I feel most accepted as myself? Now, you know what? I'm stopping real quick because I remember this correction I did, I think, on my second video. The point What actually prevents me from expressing freely as I am? Okay, yeah, that's been present. I'm just self-checking out loud. Yeah, that's been the constant. That's what I've been speaking on. 6, when do I feel most accepted as myself? Hold on. Just noise interruption. When do I feel most accepted as myself? I'm not looking for acceptance. Why? Accepted by who for what? I don't want acceptance. I am that I am. I am who I am. I haven't been able to change that. My expressions, my embodiment of who I am, how I come outward, yeah. But me underneath everything has never changed. And sadly, nobody has ever seen me. Only this, my expressions of my state, which previously was always the expressions of the state I was in, which was primarily negative. But even then, people couldn't even see the pain and suffering I was always in. So acceptance, it's like, oh man, I gave that up a long time ago. Accept it. Like, accept what? I'm either going to, either you're not going to click with everybody. I don't care about acceptance. I just want to be around my people. If I have to be around people, I'd rather be around my type of people. Positive, harmonious, congruent people, authentic people. Authentic people that align in presence with me. Those are my people. Not dictating who they are, but who they are themselves authentically, or at whatever level is harmonious with me. Like, get along with people. You could just sit with them. You could just, you know what I mean. More than acquaintances, or just, again, like security guard. At the one store. I go in, just quick interaction with no performance, no just talking like I am here. And it's like, I'm not looking for his acceptance, but I make a suggestion. Like, it's nice out when I made a suggestion. Like, it's nice out when I don't see your bike out there, because the guy's a biker. His whole presentation is biker. Tattoos, even his hair is, freaking long wizard beard, no hair, and his clothes, boots, everything, his apparel. It is. So I'm like, where's the bike? Oh my! He's like, oh, it's. Which I'm trying to think, did I mention this? No, I don't. No, I did not mention this in yesterday's video. This happened yesterday after the video. But he said he doesn't ride to work because he gets out late, and I'm like, 9 o'clock. I'm like, that's when most people are off the road. I'm like, that's the best time to ride. I'm like, the people are the things you got to worry about. The less of them on the road, the better. And it's cooler, quieter. I love riding at night. Oh, it's so peaceful. It's fun, especially if you just like fly down the road, just zigzag, just back and forth on your bike, just swaying back and forth, just having fun, not acting like a fool, just like dancing with the bike, just swaying, just oh, it's just free. But then I went in yesterday, and it's just a side story real quick. Just an example of acceptance of why it doesn't matter to me. I go in yesterday, he's like, where the heck have you been? He's like, this is the one day I don't bring my bike because it's going to rain and you don't come in all week. He's like, I've been waiting for you. I'm like, here's this big biker, older guy, probably in his 50s or late 40s, just gray hair, white, something. And I'm just like, who am I for you to care about showing me your bike? You know, it's like, dude, that was cool as shit. Like, just authentic interaction, no performance with another person, and not negative interaction, just present, goofing, joking, whatever. And that's what came from it. He remembered what I said because I expressed on riding at night, and he was like, basically, I guess obviously he listened. And he was like, hey man, he was wanting to show. I would listen, there's my bike, check it out. Yeah, everybody likes to show off their motorcycle. Me, not so much the same way. I like to show it off after I get done putting hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars into it. Like having no, never mind, I'm not going to go sidetrack, but it was like, that's not acceptance. That's just congruent, unperformative interaction flowing forward in positivity and harmony, human to human, person to person, just as it is in a positive way, not acceptance or anything of the sort. I just thought that was cool as hell yesterday. I just thought that was awesome. Like that was just like, wow. Because again, I don't get out and socialize like a freaking social butterfly because I'm not performative. I don't get out to no, I'm just speaking for myself again. I don't get out to be performative, to feed my ego, my identity, my self-esteem. Oh, that's a good one. I got it right. Oh man. Do I have a pen? Come on! Damn it. Yes, pen. No, I don't care. Pink marker. Esteem, not Osteem. Yes, another topic to generate questions on and contemplate, think, and express them out loud. That was a good one because that's a subject, that's a deep and very relevant subject to everybody. From a superficial layer all the way to a deep layer of being, yourself to being. And I've never sat and contemplated or researched on self-esteem or internally reflected on it and analyzed it and everything that I do internally with topics of analyzing and see where they entangle and what means what and what influence it had and all this. Great. All right. Take a moment to pause because I just invigorated myself for contemplation, to say it simply. instead of expression. See, I'm not trying. I'm just having fun. Looks like I got a lot of sun. Now I forgot how that even came from. You know what? All right, now I'm moving on. Oh, I needed this. See, I enjoy this. Like, I had a bad morning. I enjoy just. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just talking out loud, and it's like I do much more of this internally, and it's enjoyable. But when I'm just sitting here, just talking, I'm having a good time by myself, recording. Yeah. Oh, I'm literally just in the moment, enjoying the moment, right? Release. That was a moment of release. I've had a very, very rough 4 days. A very rough, well, just to leave it at recent reference, I've had a very rough past few days, and that moment of enjoyment just took the weight and just let it out. That was release. All right. Just compose for a moment. Of course, I could sit. That's the thing. I could sit here and physically do anything I want, and I'm still evening myself out internally. 7, do I change who I am to avoid conflict, rejection, or misunderstanding? I have all the time for 40 freaking years. I'm not making any claim on that number, though it has its own references, but I am not making those. I'm making my own reference. That tickles. It's like a sweat running down my stomach. It felt like a bug crawling on me. I was like, yo, what the hell? I'm just enjoying the moment of just release. Like I said, I internalize everything, and anytime I try to express that towards even the people around me that cause disruption, it's always deflection and lack of accountability, lack of refinement, anything. It's just constant, same old crap. So I do my own internal work. I don't need to end this too. It's really helped because I enjoy this. So now I'm getting into a very harmonious, internal, congruent state of being, which released that weight and tension over the past few days, which resulted in me choking up and tearing up and emotional. That was me. That was the release outward through physicality, through my body, my emotions becoming overwhelmed, and my body becoming overwhelmed. That was exactly what just happened. It wasn't external, internal, like externally influenced. That was all internally outward. The weight was externally influenced because that, like I said again, that goes straight in. Okay, let's go. Do I change who I am to avoid conflict, rejection, or misunderstanding? I have before, when I thought everybody else was internally operating the same way or just as aware, but more aware because everybody pretends as if they got it all figured out. And some people are just living authentically and they have their own little their own little thing figured out. Whereas me, I have been internally oriented and lost in a generally self-oriented functioning world or society, or at least environment I've always been in. All environments I've been in, the majority and all I've witnessed is primarily self-oriented. Even going internally to your being is always made external first. Like you have to go inward. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Even experts, I'm not even going to sit here and get into that, but it's like inward. It's like there's no further in than I've always been. I am the influencer of my physicality. And I'm also influenced through it, since, again, people matter to me. That goes inward. But it's not filtered through the body. It is brought straight inward to my being, and then everything happens there, whether it's in harmony, congruence, or disruption, and then that goes outward like you just seen. Oh, I don't know if that... Never mind. All right. Hold on. You know what? I'm getting rallied up now. And then they're getting loud. I'm going to have to just take a moment. All right. Do I change who I am to avoid conflict, rejection, or misunderstanding? No. Previously, I didn't change who I am. I changed or held back on expressing. Again, everything comes out comes from my being, except reaction. That is the distortion of my expression from being. That is why my environment and those in it matter so much, and what they do and how they embody themselves. Because if somebody's just endlessly negative, that's not the environment I want to be in. If that's adding weight constantly, that's not living, that's not being, that's surviving and suffering and disruption. No. And no, I do not change who I am to avoid. I don't change my expressions to avoid conflict, rejection, or misunderstanding to a point. I change my expressions to avoid conflict or misunderstanding, not rejection, though. Do I change who I am? No, I cannot change who I am. I can't. I don't. How do I do that? I could change. I could act any way, which way I want, but can I change who I am? No. Because I don't identify by some made up freaking identity. I'm gonna play. I like. You know what? I'm not getting into that. 8. What makes authentic expression difficult? Other people. Other people. Why? Why though? Because again, if you're authentically expressing, what makes that difficult? If you're already doing it, there's nothing difficult. What's difficult is how it's received. That's why I said it's because of other people. Because not everybody is equally aware and understanding the same way, the same levels, the same dynamics, everything. Bless you, Kaiser. Husky. A big old puppy dog. 2019, he's a 7-year-old puppy dog. So, what makes it difficult for me? Nothing. Here, nothing. I just got to stop trying to endlessly explain and just express. Or explain my experience or explain myself, but not explain as if I am trying to dictate or determine somebody else or anything. So, but then again, that's the whole point, to get further along the questions, and that'll be, 9. What gets in the way of simply being myself? Nothing. Disruption, but I can't ever stop being myself. Disruption. See, again, since last January, nothing influences that far in anymore. I don't take the nonsense deeper than the self, deeper than like the physical emotions. Because it doesn't matter. I mean, I could get as distraught as could be, even when I was earlier, and my being is just, it's not numb, it's just is. It is that it is, and it's in the state that it's in. That's all I could say about it. As far as expression and stuff, and being in the environment I want to be in, or and such, what gets in the way? There's an endless list of that. What gets in the what gets in the way of simply being myself? Nothing. Because again, your very being is intangible. Nobody can influence that level unless I allow it. I'll talk on myself. I won't dictate for anyone else. Nothing influences my being unless I allow it. So what could get in the way? Whatever I allow. And after January last year, nothing. I had a literal anxiety attack that lasted primarily for over 10 years straight, with very few moments in between where it was calm. And I haven't had that level of disruption from being caused an anxiety attack at all in a year and a half now. Disruption, yeah, but that level of anxiety, deep anxiety, no. Nothing. Because there's what's negative is negative. If it's negative, it's not worth anything except the information it is. Is it valuable of influence? No. So why should I allow it influence? It's got no value other than its information. The equation is out of balance. It's only informational. It's not value. 10. What actually prevents me from expressing freely as I am? I just explained all that. So then, back to the initial question now. What actually prevents people from expressing freely as they are? Again, this one's too externally put, which is not how I want to speak. I don't know. Everybody has their own answer. And nobody can answer that but yourself. Have a nice day.